And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. I'm your Sensei Al Bob, your griot, here to tell you a story, and don't believe a word I say. And I want to thank everyone who's been helping me with the years. And remember, if you want to drop anything in my payment, just go to the dude. Oh, no, go to PayPal. And then when it says, what's your who's the person you want to send money to? It's the dudeawake42 at Gmail. Dudeawake42 at Gmail. The dudeawake42 at Gmail. And welcome aboard. And I've been, now it's been almost 2 years that I've been strictly out in the deep green. In September, it will be 2 years. And in September, it'll be 3 years that since I've been at the school. And so I am out in the middle of the woods, you know, and I really uh, have a lot of space around me. And there's not too many people, but there are. And they're all around me, but they're not like right next to me. It's not like suburbia, right? Because we're in a forest, and it's really a whatchamacallit, animal retreat. And I've been there for 20 years, but really the last 18 months I've been there steady. Right? So it's an interesting thing because, and I'm also in a holler. So the people who are closest to me, when they're like half a mile, 3, 5, 10 miles away, they are above me. So I don't really hear their ambient noise. They start shooting their guns. I hear that, but even that, not too much. But the closest to me was a house that was built by the morons who built the joint, and they just scribbled in with crayon a right of way across my front lawn, and so that's why I decided, well, they put that there. That's going to be how I get out because it was level. Whereas my other driveway was like this. So anyway, did that, and I wasn't really there. So when people would rent that house, I wouldn't be there, right? Whether they were good, bad, or indifferent. And I could tell people would go through my stuff, but hey, I left most of it outside because I had no room to put it indoors. So, um, they would go through it and see, what is here, T-shirts and Normie King. Bob, I love you. I love you too. And so up until 18 months ago, I was pretty much in the world. I was at the school. I was involved in all kinds of because I was in Roanoke, Virginia, and Roanoke, Virginia is just like most cities in America. It's a microcosm of America, right? A little, you know, neighborhood taste, but Roanoke really is because it was a railroad connective point, and so there's pretty much everybody there. And I'm from New York. Love your stories about the Amazon, New York City, or New York State. Um, and so, and the Amazon, that's everywhere. So, like, I'm out in the middle of the woods, right? So, most of my interaction is with plants and animals, the city, but part of the city. Because I grew up on Park Avenue, but I lived in South Bronx, I lived in Red Hook, I lived in Staten Island, I lived in the Lower East Side. I was one of the people who helped start Soho and Tribeca and Boho and all those places. I helped start PS1 and Brooklyn Academy of Music and a ton of through collaborative artist projects, collab. We helped, you know, Franklin Furnace, The Kitchen, Knitting Factory, and what I used to do are these zombie nightclubs. True New Yorkers from everywhere in the city. Yep, that's Staten Island. But Staten Island is, I loved living on Staten Island. I had a nice little crumpled down house that was just, less than half a mile to the ferry. It's like, the ferry, and there's a big space that cars come out and go in all different directions. And then the hill kind of starts to go up. And that's where the palace aids kind of that, mountain range starts going that way. And I lived in a house just before that, and it was a real crumply old. It had been businesses and had been all kinds of stuff, and I just loved the fact I could just stroll over to the ferry, get on it for a quarter, and and it would take about half an hour, and not even that, maybe 15 minutes. But that was a meditative time. Same with being on the subway. It was when I lived in Williamsburg. I'd take the J and the M train over the Williamsburg Bridge, and it was like meditation. So here I am, and this is a different world for me because I'm mostly with myself. I enjoy my own company. I always have things to do. I mean, living in the deep green, I have Cadillac camping, but it's more like sailing because I always having to fix something, especially my water system. And because it's coming from way, 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 like 2 to 4 hundred-foot hoses coming down the hill. And so I got water pressure. I can't, so it busts things out even when I try to slow it down. Yep, place in the middle of constant chaos, right? And so there's a guy who someone turned me on to since I started doing this. And his name is John. Oh, Library. Let's see. Yes. Don't come too close. John, what is John's name? Well, I'll have to put him on here to see what his name is. Let's see. John Butler. An old, interesting guy. He's like, I'm the younger version, less wise than John Butler. But his life and mine are pretty similar, but he's from, Ireland, I think, and or Scotland, having very rural England, Ireland, someplace like that. And I'm in that same rural thing, but it's America. It really is, man, because, 2 miles away from me is a bed and breakfast. And so every 3 days, different people, right? And they come down, thinking that, my dead end is an exit. And normally I don't even bother with them because if they get down to the other side of the cul-de-sac, they run into a guy with lots of guns, really bad attitude, and killer dogs. So I just kind of wave and I go. And you might hear a few gunshots and lots of barking, and then they come flying down the road. And there's this gigantic, what is known as a energy wave guide in the earth. And they call it, the system of energy vortexes on the planet Earth, right? And there's many names for them. And I'm blanking out on all of them, but one physically goes right through my property. That's another reason I bought to buy. I have great water. I'm way out in the middle of nowhere, but not too far. And it's greener than green, and there's a gigantic lake over there, and a gigantic waterfall over there. And and it was way affordable back in 1999 when I bought it, or 2002, somewhere in there. Um, and so they come flying down the road, and this isn't a bump. It is like a chunk of And I've had a geologist, and he couldn't even tell me what it was. He couldn't even drill into it. He had all kinds of sophisticated tools and truck and a mobile lab, and so I can't, X-ray. He couldn't find anything about it except that was 40 feet this way, 80 feet down, and forever going this way and that way. And right at my property, because I live in a holler, it goes along the backside. I was going to build my house over it, so that thing would be in my house. So I'd be slipping on an energy vortex. But I mean, it's so big. I'm like, anybody within 4 miles of this thing is like getting buzz of it. So anyway, these people come flying down the road and they hit that thing. And I've had people fly off into the woods. I've had people come down and smash their front end. I mean, you can't take that bump anything faster than 2 miles an hour. Anyway, so the last few months, things have, but it's still quiet. And I went up to mine because he was like weed whacking everything and destroying. And I said, hey, this is just try and do it, you know, 4 hours a day. The chaos, Anyway, so he's, not so bad. And he kind of likes me. So, he shows me, I got this and I got that. And I said, okay. And I try to, help him go into a more. I said, listen, you moved out in the middle of nowhere, not to bring the chaos with you, but to find some other, you know. Anyway, so what you have to realize about life is that you just have to let it go, and that's what I'm starting to hit. Because I've got all this time on my hand. I've been writing and reading for the last 18 months. I've written 3 novels for the last 18 months. And I find that's pretty productive, you know. And you can go to my xratted.blogspot.com. That's xratted.blogspot.com. And you can get, a taste of my writing. Because since I signed up to that thing 2 or 3 years ago, um, Google bought them out, and now you have to be totally Googleized to put anything up in there, and they don't want you to store it on that server. They want you to put it on the cloud. And let's see. Oh, there's Johnny Boy. There's Johnny Boy. There's Johnny. So Johnny Boy has wants me to go with him across country, and I'm starting to think I'm going to do that. You know, I have to go back to what Roanoke and get my eyes operated on. And I think after that, I might go with Johnny Boy. But Johnny Boy really has to want to go with me to Texas. Yes, I think I do. We have to, get an agreement on my safety and stuff. And yes, you know, and um, so anyways, here, keep coming. Stay here. I'm going to talk for another 20 minutes. So the reality of life is just that. We learn from our experiences. There is no fixing. There is no, oh, finally I'll be, if I have that car, if I have that girl, if I have that job, if I have this money, well, I'm living on 400 bucks a month. And that's gas, insurance, car, health, utility bills, you name it, 400 bucks, taxes, you know. And that has gotten to a place where I can live with that pretty comfortably. And it's really, probably, because I have to walk a lot around the property, right? because I don't have a big house where everything is. It's like over here, over there, over there, here. And it forces me to be conscious wherever I put my. Because when I don't, I fall down and hurt myself. 3 weeks ago, I did that. It was raining, 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 and I didn't realize how much rain because I have such great drainage that it stops. It can be a torrential downpour. It's like everywhere, and then it stops, and then 10, 15 minutes later, it's not dry, but there are no puddles. It used to be. I mean, this is the Sahara is a bog, and I had to clear it all out and then put lots of drainage and cover it with stone because otherwise I'd be in a mosquito haven. But now, not so much. So that's a good thing. So I, come to this realization that there is no fixing anything. It's just you have to learn. Your life, this life is irrelevant. This is just a sandbox. The real life. It's not the afterlife. It's what you ascend into. Because if you don't work at it, if you're not every day in every way taking a piece of the earth and making it stronger through love's co-creation, you're just a meat puppet. So I really see a lot of value in John Birmingham. He's really got a lot going, but he has so restricted himself by his neuroses that I sold him the school because the school wanted him. I tried to sell to a lot of other people, and every deal fell through. John, not so much. So it came to me and said, John needs to be here. And but I can't just leave him here because it's a powerful place. It's like if you gave a 3-year-old the keys to a Maserati and said, "Here, I got these shoes that'll touch the pedals for you. Go drive." No. So I stuck around for almost 2 years with John. And the 3 rules: doctor, do no harm. Do not get involved unless you have a workable exit strategy and you're going in to help the innocent. And third one, don't get involved unless you're going to learn stuff. And I learned a lot. And I stayed there as long as I could learn. Even though John threw me out 20-something times or 30-something times, those were continuations of learning other stuff. Let's see. We learn from our experiences. Sure. There's some. Yep. So, my basic feeling is that this trip should go with John, and I will learn a lot, and it'll be good. And it all depends on my health, right? So I'm not, because John is very. He can do anything to me. Throw me out in the middle of Texas, throw me out in the middle of the, and where am right now is beautiful. It's and you know what, Norm? Everyone's a character. We're, as Shakespeare said, the world's a play, and we're all just players on the stage. Well, John, you've done it, 28, 32 times, and more than that, so I really have to feel safe to get in a car and drive across the country with you, right? And, but I'm willing to do it. And, right now, there is no real reason for me to leave here because it's beautiful, it's green, it's when we drive across the country into the hell zone, maybe we should go, in the fall. But anyway, I'm not going, and I mean I'm leaning towards going because I think it might be good, and it would make for good YouTube shows. I mean, and John, we'd have to really agree on. I mean, because we did a bunch of YouTube shows on John's channel, and they went viral, and John did everything he could to make sure that mine never went anywhere because, so I'll link every show you have ever done on my channel to yours. Never. One or two, maybe, you know. But, I'll give you money. It costs me money for you to be in. And I cook every meal, do all his chores, clean the place up. It costs me money. And that is John's beauty, is that he is the perfect example of transactional life. I do this, you do that. That's not how our soul works, you know? Our soul works, I'm here to love, I'm here to serve. And every day and every way, I take the piece of the earth and make it stronger. I don't, misquote the Bible. I don't go on about Jesus Christ and God and he's the only. No. I mean, those are business plans. They aren't even real. Nothing, you have to realize nothing that you experience on this plane of existence is real. It's just an app. It's just a training simulation, you know? And John, I am not driving there now. I'm sorry, I have things to do. And I told you I'm coming to Roanoke, get my eyes operated on, and then we'll see from there. Okay? And like my safety is primary, right? But it would be interesting. And if I can guarantee my safety, um, you know, we can do it. You know? This is what I'm talking about.
Are you still interested in a solar powered generator?
Yeah, I am.
The experience of being in a noisy party or something, somebody all drinking and, flirting and, making a noise, listening to loud music. You go out from there, probably in a winter night, you just go out into the street and it's quiet. You probably look up at the sky, maybe there's a star or the moon shining, and you see the contrast between the noise and the sort of clutteredness of one and the freedom of the other. This always made a huge impact on me.
Are you watching this, John?
I sort of instinctively felt
You should watch this guy. This guy's name is John, too.
When I'd come up here, silence, space, freedom. And you can't really explain it, can you? You can't describe it, but we all know what we're talking about. You just somehow melt into something that's bigger. And amazingly, it's comforting. And where does one end and the other begin? And how big is space? Just look at the sky, you look at the horizon, and you look beyond the horizon. And there's no end to it, is there? It just goes on, it's unlimited. And then maybe you're struggling to understand, you read about philosophy, and you read spirit maybe, and maybe start thinking about God. Now let me just ask you, where does silence, space, and freedom end, and spirit begin? And what is spirit? What is this silence that I'm sitting in, and this space that's all around me? Is this not synonymous with spirit? Where does one end and the other begin? And what is God anyway but spirit? So, it isn't really the matter of changing anything or finding anything, but of you know what I've really done is just walk up a hill. Because the town with all its people and all that, all sort of tensions and stresses and problems of what we call life is still down there in the valley. And all I've done is climb a hill, and here I am. And then I think back to the words in scripture like, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills from whence cometh my help.
My eyes up to the hill, and there cometh my help. You know? John Birmingham says, like he is a medieval, scary occult person from the old English days. So, that's about it for today. I just was at the library. I wanted to reconfigure, reach out and touch you guys and say, I kind of got a breath of fresh air of I'm not worrying about anything, you know. And I mean, because 3 weeks ago I took this really terrible fall, and I've taken 3 really amazing, terrible falls in the last since the beginning of the year, last 6 months, and and I didn't break anything. Each time I kind of like knocked the wind out of me or sprained this or right. And right now, it's like when I would make the last fall was like I was saying, it was raining. I didn't realize that water was like flowing down the grass. So when I was thinking about 3 things, I had my arms full of stuff, and I was holding an umbrella. I hit this water, and I shot right down this hill. Right, I'm like surfing down it. And if I had good shoes, I wouldn't have been in that situation. But anyway, and then I kind of fell back and then forward, and then on top of myself. And my legs, when I came to rest, my legs were behind my back. Anyway, long story short, I iced myself and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't go to the emergency room because I can cost you a fortune. I went to my provider and I forced them to like send me over here to get x-rays and over there to get this, and which they should have done 5 months ago. But see, these are all things that don't matter. Still haven't got the shoes, I found a little better shoes. It was like magic. It was like looking through my magic room, and there's a box, open it up, look at those brand new shoes. And they actually fit me, and they actually support my ankles, and they actually make my knees and hips and everything kind of get into alignment. So, I'm feeling better. I'm not walking with 2 canes and, a bunch of, I still wear my things on my knees if I'm going to go do something. But anyway, it really put me in a position of realizing what John B., not Birmingham, what is this guy's name? Whatever his name is, that old guy. The one that John Birmingham says is scary, really. I remembered you, Al, and we'll stay tuned. Okay. Thanks, Normie. Anyway, so I'm going to go, and I'm doing well, and I hope you are too. And I'll catch you guys soon. Okay? Okay. And remember, life is about how to ascend, not how to accomplish a singular goal that will make you happy, because it won't make you happy. Is this a library? No. I don't know what this place is. It's a scary medieval English place where an old English guy is